Right. So this talk is about tight bounds on sensitivity and block sensitivity of some classes of transitive functions. Uh, so we'll begin with some history. So Cook, Dwark, and Reischuk introduced sensitivity as a measure for Boolean functions to give lower bounds for the CREW complexity in the PRAM model. And they proved that the CREW complexity is at least log of the sensitivity of any Boolean function. Then this notion was further generalized by Nissan. Uh, he introduced the measure of block sensitivity and proved that the CREW complexity is exactly characterized by the log of block sensitivity. These measures have applications in various areas, as you can see in this list of work. We'll now come to the definitions. So the sensitivity of a function on input x is defined as the number of bits I, such that if you flip the ith bit of the input, then the function changes value. So in this notation, x to the I corresponds to the input obtained by changing the ith bit of x. And so what this means again is that this is just counting the number of bits I, such that the function value at x to the I is not the same as the function value at x. So the sensitivity of the function is defined as max of sensitivity of f on inputs x, where the max is taken over all the inputs of length n. And then we can also define one-sided measures. So zero sensitivity is defined as the max of sensitivity over inputs, where the maximum is taken only over the zero inputs. And similarly, we have the one sensitivity, where the max is taken over the one inputs. So here is a simple example of the OR function on 3 bits. So this function, so as you can see, the only zero input denoted in red is the all zero input. And so the sensitive edges are indicated by green. So this all zero input has 3 sensitive edges coming into it. So its sensitivity is 3. And then these one inputs have exactly one sensitive edge. So this one has exactly one sensitive edge coming into it. So its sensitivity is 1. And all the other inputs have no sensitive edges coming into it. So their sensitivity is 0. So the one sensitivity is 1, as we saw, and then the sensitivity is the max of these two, which is simply 3. Now let's define the block sensitivity. So instead of allowing single bits to be flipped, we now allow blocks of bits to be flipped. So in particular, we choose mutually disjoint blocks B1 to Bt for any input x, so that if you flip any of them, the function changes value. So the block sensitivity is defined as the maximum number of such mutually disjoint blocks, so that the function value is different at x and x to the bi for each block. So, and the block sensitivity is simply defined as the max of the block sensitivity over all inputs. And then we define one-sided measure of zero block sensitivity, where the maximum is taken only over the zero inputs, and similarly one block sensitivity, where the maximum is over one inputs. So a simple fact is that any single bit can also be thought of as a block of size 1. And because of this, it's clear that the block sensitivity of any function is at least its sensitivity. And then the natural question is, what is the largest possible separation between these two measures? And this question was posed as the sensitivity conjecture due to Nissan and Szegedy in 92. And they asked is it true that for every function f, the block sensitivity is upper bounded by polynomial in sensitivity? This question was open for a long time, and the best known upper bound was only exponential due to Ambainis and others. And very recently, Huang, in his breakthrough paper, resolved this conjecture. So he proved that the degree of any function is at most square of its sensitivity, which implies that the block sensitivity is at most the fourth power of its sensitivity. Then this result was further improved by Laplante et al. And others. In the other direction, the best known separation between sensitivity and block sensitivity is only quadratic. So the first such function was given by Rubinstein, and then there were several other works with similar separations with different constants. And so note that this question is still not completely resolved, because the best known separation is only quadratic and the upper bound is only 4th degree, as we just saw. Now we'll define another related measure called certificate complexity. So first we define a partial assignment. So partial assignment alpha is simply a function from 1 to n to 0, 1 and star, which is basically corresponds to setting the n variables to 0, 1 and star. And if you set any variable to star, that would be called as a free variable. And if we set some variables to zeros and ones, those will be the fixed variables. Now, a certificate of function f on input x is defined as any partial assignment alpha, so that x agrees with alpha, and any other input y that agrees with alpha also agrees on the function value with x. So it also satisfies f of y equal to f of x. Then the certificate complexity of function f on input x is the minimum size of any certificate of f on x. And then we can define the certificate complexity of the function as the maximum of the certificate complexity taken over all inputs x. And in this case, we also define the min certificate complexity, where we take the minimum over all inputs x of the certificate complexity. Now we define some transitive functions. So a function f is said to be invariant under a permutation sigma from n bits to n bits if for any input x, if you permute x according to sigma, then the function does not change value. So what it means is, if you had x1 to xn and you permuted it as per sigma, then the function does not change value. And in this case, we call that f is invariant under sigma. So the set of all such permutations under which f is invariant forms a group, and we call that the invariance group of f. And then f is said to be transitive if its invariance group is transitive. What does that mean? That simply means that for any two indices I and j, there is a sigma which takes I to j. And this class has many popular subclasses such as symmetric functions, cyclically invariant functions, graph properties, and minterm transitive functions, and so on. So there are many known results about transitive functions. So for example, it is known that due to Huang's result along with a paper due to Sun, we know that sensitivity is at least n to the 1/6 for any transitive function. Then a result due to Sun can be used to imply that, a paper due to Sun proves that block sensitivity is at least n to the 1/3 for transitive functions. Then we also know that certificate complexity is at least square root n due to Loash and Young had some notes saying this for transitive functions. And then finally, under this additional condition that the function does not agree on the all 0 input and the all 1s input, and also if n is a prime power, then the sensitivity is at least square root n. This follows due to a remark in the survey by Hatami et al. Along with Huang's paper. Then for the subclass called as minterm transitive functions, we know somewhat better results. So Chakravarti proved that the sensitivity is at least n to the 1/3 for such functions. Then Drucker proved that block sensitivity is at least n to the 3/7 for such functions. And a chain of work due to Sun, Drucker, and Amano shows that there exists minterm transitive functions with block sensitivity at most n to the 3/7. Now we state some questions about transitive functions, and we shall be answering partially some of these questions in our results. So the first question is whether for every transitive function, sensitivity is at least n to the 1/3. And this would imply that block sensitivity is at most sensitivity cube for such functions. And we note that the smallest known sensitivity for any transitive function is only n to the 1/3. So we don't know of any function which is transitive and has a smaller sensitivity. The second question is whether under this additional condition, is it true that the sensitivity is at least square root n for every transitive function? And again, we don't know of any transitive function which satisfies this condition and has a lower sensitivity. The third question asks whether for every transitive function, the block sensitivity is at least n to the 3/7. And again, we don't know of any transitive function which has a smaller block sensitivity. So now we go over an overview of our results. So first we answer question 1 that we just stated. That is, we prove that sensitivity is at least 10 to the 1/3 for some special classes of transitive functions. In particular, we prove this for the class of transitive functions that can be represented by a sparse DNF or CNF, which means that they have few enough terms. Second class is where a function can be represented by a DNF or CNF, which could be large, but which has at least some variable not occurring too many times. So it has at least some variable occurring in at most these many terms. And the third class is where a function can be represented by a DNF with approximately the same number of positive literals per term. And for this class, under this additional condition that the function does not agree on the all zero and the all ones input, we also prove this stronger bound. Then we also answer the question 3, and we prove that block sensitivity is at least 10 to the 3/7 for all these previous classes of transitive functions that we just mentioned. So to go over them again, either the function is represented by a sparse DNF or by a DNF such that some variable appears not too many times, or with a DNF which has roughly the same number of positive literals per term. Now we go over our main results. So our main technical contributions comprise of these 3 lemmas. The first lemma states that if you can represent f by a DNF with t terms, then its min certificate complexity is at most its 1 sensitivity plus log of t. And note that in this lemma is general, so it does not even require transitivity. So the second lemma states that if you can represent f by a DNF which has some variable, the ith variable appearing in at most k terms, then we can upper bound C min by log k plus 1 minus log of influence of I for f. And again, we don't require transitivity for this lemma. The third lemma states that if f is transitive, then its certificate complexity on the all zero input multiplied by sensitivity is at least 10. And similarly for the all ones input. So our proof strategy is going to be based on this result due to Chakravarti. So this states that if f is transitive, then the product of its sensitivity and min certificate complexity square is at least 10. So this means that if you can now upper bound C min for transitive functions, that would immediately give a lower bound on sensitivity. And note that our lemmas 1 and 2 can be used to upper bound C min for some classes of transitive functions. And we use those combined with this result of Chakravarti to prove lower bounds on sensitivity for these classes. So our lemma 3 gives a stronger version of this result of Chakravarti for transitive functions for some special inputs, which is the all zero and the all ones input. And we use that to prove lower bound of square root n for transitive functions represented by DNFs with roughly the same number of positive literals per term under this additional condition. Now we quickly go over the proof of lemma 1. So lemma 1, recall that it gave it said that if f can be represented by a small DNF, then C min can be upper bounded in this way. So yeah, let's go over the proof. So each term of the DNF gives a one certificate for f, and so the total number of variables in each term is at least the min certificate complexity of f. What this means is that each one certificate, so each term has at most n minus c min free variables, which means that the number of different inputs that satisfy it is at most 2 to the n minus c min. So what this means is that the total number of one inputs in the function f is at most t, which was the number of terms in the DNF, multiplied by 2 to the n minus c min f. And then we use a famous lemma due to Simon, which says that the number of one inputs of any function is at least 2 to the n minus its one sensitivity. And combining these two statements gives us the statement of the lemma. Now we state two theorems which we briefly mentioned before. So the first theorem states that if f is transitive and can be represented by a DNF with not too many terms, then its sensitivity can be lower bounded in this way. And the second theorem states that if f is transitive and can be represented by a DNF which has some variable appearing in few enough terms, then its sensitivity can be lower bounded by this expression. So the proof of lemma 1 follows, the proof of theorem 1 follows from lemma 1 along with the result of Chakravarti, which we stated before. And the proof of theorem 2 similarly follows from lemma 2 and Chakravarti's result along with a few more techniques. So in these two theorems, we set epsilon to be 1/6 to get the bound of n to the 1/3, which we promised before. So then lastly, our theorem 3 states that if f is transitive and assuming that f has a set of min terms alpha 1, alpha 2 and so on corresponding to its DNF, which have equal weights up to constant factor, then its sensitivity is at least n to the 1/3. And additionally, under this condition, we also prove that its sensitivity is at least square root n. So we skip the proof of part 1 for lack of time. We'll quickly go over the proof of lemma 3, which states this bound. So we'll use the lemma due to Sun for this, which states that if gamma is any transitive group of permutations, then for any pair of inputs x and y, if the product of their weights is at most n, then there exists some permutation such that sigma x and y are basically disjoint, which means they don't have any ones in the same position. And here's the proof outline. So let B be a minimal sensitive block for the all zero input. And since B was minimal, the sensitivity is at least the size of B. And then let alpha be any certificate of F on the all zero input. And then we go by contradiction. So if the size of alpha multiplied by the size of B is less than n, then we can apply Sun's lemma on the bits that are fixed, the set of bits fixed by alpha and the set B. So this would mean there is some permutation sigma such that sigma of alpha and B do not have any indices in common. But this gives a contradiction because every certificate of F on the all zero input must intersect B because B is a minimal sensitive block. And as a result, this cannot be true. And so the size of alpha times the size of B is at least n. We'll skip this proof of part 2 of theorem 3. And so the final lemma we have is that for any transitive function and integer r in this range, we prove a trade-off. So if C min is less small enough, then block sensitivity is large enough in terms of r. And then we use this lemma with r equal to 7 with similar bounds on C min, and that gives us our lower bounds on block sensitivity.
Okay, so one more minute.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I'll conclude with some open problems. So the first problem is whether for every transitive function the sensitivity is at least n to the 1/3. The second question is whether under this additional condition you can prove the stronger bound of square root n for transitivity for sensitivity. The third question is whether for every transitive function block sensitivity is at least n to the 3/7. And the fourth question is more general, So what is the best possible separation between the sensitivity and block sensitivity for any Boolean function? Yeah, and so that's it. Yeah, so thank you. And do you have any questions?
Okay, thanks very much.
Thank you.